So, I've started reading Grit by Angela Duckworth. It's a really interesting book. I'm through the first part of it. A lot of these books like to separate into various parts with like a few chapters in each part, but the first part talks about grit, how it works and things like that, how it can grow, and how grit affects the success outcome of someone. And so, in essence, grit is basically a combination of someone's perseverance and passion. So when someone has grit, they've got a passion for something, a goal, an end goal, and they persevere to get through it. So someone can have passion, but not the perseverance to last through setbacks or rejections and things like that. And so you can have someone that may be passionate about something, but if they don't have the perseverance, they'll eventually lose interest in that passion and then move on to another passion. You kind of see that in society. But then the perseverance part, you can have someone with perseverance but no passion, and so they're basically going through all this hardship for no reason, with no set goal in mind. So, basically, one thought that came to mind as I was finishing up reading today was Crystal Clear versus Pokemon Prism. My hot take for the day to get everyone mad. So, both Pokemon ROM hacks. One started out as Cool Boy Man's passion project, Pokemon Prism. It was his passion project. He'd done Pokemon Brown before that, done a lot of exemplary things. There are a lot of features in it that are standard in ROM hacks nowadays, and there are other features that really haven't fit the bill to be implemented, like the skill system. But since Rainbow devs took over, it's kind of turned into a stale project that's active. Whereas, oh, I'm in the water. I should get out of that. Whereas some Crystal Clear, Shock Slayer's project that he's passionate about, and he is basically born through a lot of stuff working on it. So what does that have to do with grit? What does it have to do with passion? So when you look at Crystal Clear, even though like an update comes out every year, you can see that there are new features in it and new content to explore, new things to explore and try out. Something new that a lot of people get mad about. Whereas Prism, for the last couple of years, they've had like an update every year, and all it's been is bug fixes. And I mean, there have been content teases, like new map teases, for like, that I saw 2.5 years ago, but that's about it. The last couple of years have pretty much been bug fix updates, no new content, and I know people have asked about that. And when you look at the diametric difference between the people in there, it almost seems like you've got a bunch of like talented, gifted people working on Prism. Whereas Shock Slayer, I've watched him like struggle and burn out through different parts and features that he's implemented. And it's interesting to see that struggle and then see everyone like laud him as talented and gifted and things like that, when really it's just an idiot like banging his head against the wall hoping that the code works. So like that, he has that perseverance, that passion on what he's working on. He learned GBZ80 in order to work on this project, and he's continued to work on it for the last few years in spite of like all the trouble he's been through. Whereas you get these Rainbow Devs intellectuals, they almost look down on him, it seems. But yet they've done cool things. But it just seems that their effort hasn't been put into that passion project. They probably focus more on the disassemblies and things like that, which are cool. But if you want to say that Prism is better than Crystal Clear, then where's the passion behind it? Because there was a passion behind it with Cool Boy Man. Whereas now that effort has kind of gone and squandered. So one other concept that I'm kind of like brushing over, kind of like it's there, but I haven't really defined it, was she talks about talent, natural inborn talent that someone has when they start something. So you can have the musically gifted, and so oftentimes they're like told that, oh, you're so gifted, you can do this, that, and the other. They kind of get that expectation lived in them, and it's like they go through life like, yeah, everything's good, I'm just this gifted and talented. And they never, once they hit a struggle, they kind of fizzle out. And it's almost like what the Rainbow Devs have done with Prism, is that it's just kind of fizzled out. It's there, but I mean, you had the talent, you picked it up at first, and then when the trial came, it kind of fizzled out. You look at, Prism got a lot of traction after the cease and desist, and that's kind of when they picked it up. That's kind of when its high point was, but it's kind of died out by now. There was nothing new really to keep that passion going, keep that energy going, because it was too hard to keep up. Whereas you look at Crystal Clear, in spite of like being an idiot that doesn't know anything, Shockslayer has been able to come out with new things that keep people interested, new features, new places to explore that keep people interested. And that's kind of the difference between the naturally gifted and those who are gritty. Is the naturally gifted, if they don't have any grit, they don't end up doing much with their talents. They don't put as much effort in. Whereas those who continue to push forth the effort, those who are gritty and stick with it, end up being able to make something of it, be able to overcome and succeed through their setbacks and trials, because I've seen a bunch of like setbacks and trials with Shockslayer that he's been able to overcome, and that's in part due to the community that flourished with Crystal Clear and has allowed him to focus more on that. Whereas you look at Prism and it's kind of fizzled out because these people are focused on other things and not Prism. I mean, for all we know, Prism may not be their core thing, may not be their core passion, but as a project in and of itself, it doesn't have that gritty passion behind it that Crystal Clear does to allow it to flourish and become even better. I've seen people even still say like, oh, this is like even better than Crystal Clear, but at the same time it's like, yes, it may stand the test of time, but it may not be all that engaging. It's not as gritty. It doesn't live through. There are a lot of people that like Crystal Clear because it allows them to relive the nostalgia in a different way that they once knew, whereas Prism is a different experience. So for those older fans that want to re-experience it and re-experience the wonder and joy, they experience that through Crystal Clear. It's all familiar scenery, but at the same time it's a new experience. Prism's a new experience, but it doesn't have anything new to add to that feel other than these same bits that most everyone is used to. Maybe here and there they've added balancing fixes and things like that. But when it comes to the core experience itself, there's really not much new. You can update the battle engine, rebalance typings and things like that, but how does that really play into the experience as a whole when someone's experiencing the whole game? That's just a minor thing versus like adding a whole new experience to like getting rid of the battle tower and having followers, or adding other things that allow people to tailor their adventure to them so that they can start how they want, wherever they want, and create their own challenge. So if you haven't started reading the book or don't have the book, I would recommend it. Grit has been a really good read so far. So anyways, yes, Crystal Clear better than Prism confirmed.